What if I told you that most people today are living in quiet defeat? Not because they lack talent, but because they lack mental fortitude. We scroll, we compare, we envy. Then we wonder why we feel stuck, weak, or adrift. We chase comfort yet feel exhausted, and we avoid pain yet suffer daily. The harsh truth is this: comfort is a slow poison, while struggle, no matter how brutal, holds the key to genuine power. But here's the unexpected part. The ancient Stoics knew this long before the age of smartphones, social media, or self-help gurus. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and one of history's most revered Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This isn't just a quote, it's a battle plan, a philosophy, a way to navigate life's chaos without being shaken. Stoicism doesn't make life easier, it makes you unstoppable. In this video, we're going to uncover 8 brutal Stoic laws that will force you to level up mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. This isn't just fluffy inspiration, it's a call for real, tangible change. Each of these laws is forged from the raw, battle-tested truths of ancient Rome and remains painfully relevant today. Before we dive in, if you are serious about your own growth, I need you to commit to one thing. Don't just sit back and watch this like another motivational clip. This isn't background noise, this is your wake-up call. Like this video right now. Drop a comment as we go, especially when a point truly hits home. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. And most importantly, do not skip a single part, because missing even one of these laws could cost you clarity or courage when you need it most. Let's begin. Law number 1, embrace discomfort as a teacher. We have been conditioned to run from pain, but the Stoics taught the opposite. Run toward it with your eyes wide open. Think about your greatest moments of growth. Did they happen when you were comfortable, relaxed, and everything was effortless? Or did they happen when life punched you in the face and you were forced to choose to rise or remain broken? Marcus Aurelius faced wars, betrayal, and illness, yet he led with unwavering calm. He didn't avoid discomfort, he invited it to shape him. As he famously said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This isn't just poetic fluff, it's a law. Every obstacle is a chance to sharpen your will. Every delay is a test of your patience. Every rejection is a lesson in resilience. Modern life tells us to avoid pain. Stoicism whispers back, train for it. That cold shower is a test. That difficult conversation is a path. That gym session when you're exhausted is where your character is being forged. The Stoics believed that by choosing controlled discomfort, you prepare for life's inevitable chaos. So when the storm hits, you are already built for it. Seneca, another Stoic, would practice sleeping on the floor, eating simple food, and wearing old clothes, not out of self-hate, but out of self-training. Why? Because when life inevitably strips away your comfort, you won't be shocked. You'll be ready. Discomfort isn't your enemy, it's your mirror. It shows you who you really are, and more importantly, who you are becoming. We avoid small pains today only to invite greater suffering tomorrow. But if you lean in, if you walk through that fire with awareness, something incredible happens. You stop fearing the pain. And that's the beginning of freedom. From now on, see discomfort like a sparring partner. It might bruise you, but it's building you. Choose one small discomfort today and do it. No hesitation, cold shower, deep talk. Sit with boredom. Remind yourself this is how warriors are made, because the only way to become unstoppable is to stop running. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments right now. Discomfort is my training ground. Law number 2, stop being owned by your emotions. How often do your emotions dictate your day? Someone says something rude and you snap. Plans change and your whole mood shifts. You feel lazy, so you skip the gym, the work, the discipline. It's not just you, it's all of us. But the brutal truth is, if you are ruled by your emotions, you are their slave. And the Stoics believed that emotional slavery is a worse fate than chains on your wrists. Epictetus, a former slave-turned-Stoic teacher, said, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master. They can anger you only when you permit yourself to be disturbed by them." Let that sink in. That person who cut you off in traffic, you just handed them your peace of mind. That breakup, you gave it your identity. That one rude comment online, you surrendered your joy to it. Stoicism doesn't ask you to ignore emotions. It teaches you to observe them, understand them, and respond instead of simply reacting. The difference between a child and a Stoic? The child throws a tantrum. The Stoic sits in the storm and thinks. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man of his time, wrote in his private journal, which became Meditations, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." That's the kind of control we rarely discuss. The power to remain unshaken by what doesn't deserve our energy. And yes, it's brutal because it means you can no longer blame others. You can't say he made me mad or she ruined my day. You realize it's all on you. That reaction was your choice. But here's the empowering part. You can choose again. You don't have to be a slave to your feelings. You can feel anger without acting on it. You can feel fear and still move forward. You can feel sadness without drowning in it. That is emotional strength. That is Stoic freedom. Next time you feel triggered, try this. Pause. Don't act. Breathe. Ask, is this feeling useful right now? Respond with intention. This isn't about being robotic. It's about being in command. When you stop being owned by your emotions, you become clear, calm, and powerful. You show up steady and people notice. You're no longer pushed around by every little thing. You become grounded. And in today's emotionally chaotic world, that kind of stability is rare, it's magnetic, and it's truly unstoppable. Law number 3, stop expecting life to be fair. Life owes you nothing. One of the fastest ways to suffer is to expect life to be fair. Let that sink in for a moment. You work hard and someone lazier gets the promotion. You love deeply and they walk away. You do the right thing and still get punished. And then the anger comes. This isn't fair. But here is the Stoic truth. Fairness is a myth we create, not a rule of the universe. Even Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, saw injustice every day. But instead of whining, blaming, or spiraling into despair, he grounded himself in one unshakable idea. Life isn't about fairness. Life is about strength. The Stoics never expected life to treat them kindly. They expected pain, loss, betrayal, and change. And because they expected it, they were ready for it. Let's be brutally honest. Fairness is a beautiful idea, but it can make you weak if you cling to it too tightly. When we say this isn't fair, what we are often saying is, I don't like how this feels and I don't want to deal with it. But here's the law. You don't grow by expecting fairness. You grow by facing reality and moving forward anyway. Look around. Bad things happen to good people. Evil people sometimes win. Effort doesn't always equal reward. That's not negativity, that's life. Now here's what separates the average person from the unstoppable one. The average person waits for fairness. The Stoic builds a power within so strong that nothing external can break them. This doesn't mean you become cold or heartless. It means you stop waiting for the world to treat you right and start treating yourself right regardless of how the world behaves. Seneca once said, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage, especially when life seems unfair." Here's what you do. Instead of complaining, you use the pain as fuel. You build skills so strong they can't be ignored. You love deeply without expectation. You face betrayal and walk forward with dignity. The Stoic approach is radical responsibility. Not because it's always your fault, but because it's always your move. You don't get to control how life hits you, but you always get to control how you respond. And that response, that grounded, calm, warrior-like response, that's what makes you unstoppable. Law number 4, focus on what you can control, let go of the rest. The Stoics believed that your power resides in one very small, specific place within your control. Everything outside of that, let it go. Epictetus stated it simply: make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Here's the trap most people fall into. They try to control other people. They try to predict the future. They obsess over outcomes, and then they wonder why they feel anxious, powerless, and angry. But let's break it down. What is truly under your control? Your thoughts, your choices, your actions, your response. Everything else, other people's opinions, chance, uncertainty, is outside of it. You can't control the weather, but you can control how you dress. You can't control whether people like you, but you can control how you treat them. You can't control the economy, but you can control how much you learn, how you spend, and how you prepare. That shift in focus is massive. It gives you back your power. Instead of being pulled in 100 directions by things you can't affect, you stand strong, centered in your own actions. Imagine you're in a storm at sea. The Stoic doesn't scream at the wind. He grabs the wheel and navigates the ship. That's what makes you calm when others panic, focused when others complain, and disciplined when others drift. It's not about pretending the outside world doesn't matter. It's about deciding what gets your attention. And 90% of what people worry about is completely outside of their control. Here's a simple practice. Every time you feel stressed, ask yourself, is this within my control? If yes, act. If no, let it go. Simple? Yes. Easy? Not at all. Powerful? Absolutely. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When you live this way, people notice. You become unshakable. Not because you control everything, but because you control yourself no matter what happens. Law number 5, practice voluntary hardship to forge an unbreakable will. In a world addicted to comfort, discipline becomes a superpower. The Stoics didn't wait for life to challenge them. They challenged themselves first. Not to suffer, but to strengthen. Not to punish, but to prepare. Seneca once wrote, Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, "Is this the condition I feared?" This was voluntary hardship, a chosen moment of discomfort to build a mind that wouldn't crack under pressure. Now consider this. Most people today avoid discomfort at all costs. They never skip a meal. They never sit in silence. They never go without convenience. But what happens when life does get hard? They break. They panic. They blame. The Stoic has already trained for the hard days. They have already practiced hunger, fatigue, rejection, boredom, and struggle. That doesn't make them invincible, it makes them adaptable. You don't build willpower by watching motivational videos. You build it by intentionally doing the thing you don't want to do. Voluntary hardship can look like this: fasting for 24 hours to remind yourself that you control your urges. Taking a cold shower when your mind screams no. Saying no to a luxury you can afford just to sharpen your self-restraint. Waking up early to train when your body craves the bed. These small choices stack up, and over time you become dangerous. Not because you're cruel to yourself, but because you realize the truth. Comfort doesn't make you stronger. Challenge does. And when hardship comes, as it always does, you don't run. You smile because you've already walked through the fire by choice. Marcus Aurelius ruled during plagues, wars, and betrayals, yet he wrote with calm and clarity. Why? Because hardship wasn't a shock to him, it was expected. And when hardship is expected, it loses its power to paralyze you. So instead of asking, "How can I make life easier?" ask, "How can I become stronger?" Practice being hungry. Practice being alone. Practice being cold, tired, rejected, and bored, and remain focused through all of it. Because one day life will throw more at you than you think you can handle. And when it does, you will rise. Law number 6. Detach from outcomes. Fall in love with the process. We have been taught to obsess over results. Get the job, win the deal, hit the goal, earn the money, be admired. But Stoicism flips the script. Detach from the outcome and master your process. Why? Because the result is never guaranteed. But your effort is always within your control. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life." It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. When you cling to results, you set yourself up for suffering. You hit the gym for a week, don't see abs, and you quit. You launch a project, it flops, and you feel worthless. You love someone, they leave, and you collapse. But what if you fell in love with the work itself? The showing up, the writing, the building, the thinking, the learning, the effort. That's the Stoic path. Because when you focus on the process, you always win, even if the result isn't what you imagined. And here's the kicker. Ironically, when you let go of needing the outcome, you start to achieve more. Because you're not desperate, you're not emotional, you're not driven by validation, you are grounded in action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present." Meaning, stop obsessing over what might happen. Just work your process with courage right now. If you're a writer, write not to go viral, but to sharpen your mind. If you're an athlete, train not just to win, but to master your body. If you're building something, build not for applause, but for pride in the effort. The moment you tie your worth to outcomes, you become fragile. The moment you tie your worth to discipline, intention, and focus, you become unstoppable. Here's a Stoic mindset shift. Show up like the result is already done and you're just enjoying the craft. Whether you fail or succeed, you've already won because you did the work. Law number 7, embrace death to live with urgency and purpose. Most people live as if they are going to live forever. They waste time, delay their dreams, stay stuck in bad habits and worse relationships. But the Stoics meditated on death, not to be morbid but to wake up. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. That's not fear, that's freedom. It's the realization that life is short and we don't get to choose when it ends. So every moment wasted is a moment we never get back. Let that hit you. You don't get to wait for someday. You don't get to keep telling yourself, I'll do it later. You don't get to assume that tomorrow is guaranteed." The Stoics practiced something called memento mori. Remember, you will die. They didn't say it to be grim, they said it to stay focused, present, and intentional. Because when you truly realize that your time is limited, you stop wasting it. You stop scrolling for hours, you stop arguing over meaningless things. You stop tolerating mediocrity and you start creating, loving, and moving. Now, not later. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." You might not control how long you live, but you do control how deeply you live. And the most dangerous lie is this: there's plenty of time. No, there isn't. That risk you keep avoiding, that business you keep postponing, that person you keep meaning to forgive, that change you keep saying you'll make next year. This is your moment. This is your time. The Stoic doesn't ignore death. He stares it in the face and says, "You will not catch me sleeping on my life." This awareness doesn't make you anxious, it makes you alive. Because the person who truly remembers death speaks truthfully, loves openly, works with urgency, lets go of ego, and stops fearing failure. The ultimate failure is a wasted life. Live like you're on borrowed time because you are. And when you do, you become magnetic, focused, and powerful. You don't chase cheap validation. You move with a purpose that people can feel. Law number 8, be a warrior for virtue, not approval. Let's be honest, most people live for likes, praise, attention, and applause. But the Stoic doesn't move for the crowd. The Stoic moves for virtue. Marcus Aurelius said, "Just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter." In other words, live with honor even if no one sees it. Speak the truth even if no one claps. Keep your word even if it costs you. Train hard even when nobody's watching. That is virtue. That's what builds a soul that cannot be bought. And it's not about being perfect. It's about being principled. Now here's the hard part. Doing the right thing is often the hard thing. It's easier to lie. It's easier to impress than to be authentic. It's easier to chase approval than to stand alone. But every time you choose what's right over what's easy, you sharpen your edge. You become someone your future self can admire. You build an identity that no one can take from you. Seneca reminds us, "I will govern my life and thoughts as if the whole world were to see the one and read the other." That's power. That's a life that doesn't crumble under pressure because it's built on integrity. In a world of image, the Stoic is real. In a world of noise, the Stoic is still. In a world of performance, the Stoic is genuine. You want to be unstoppable? Don't live for praise. Live for your values. Live in a way that even if stripped of your status, money, and followers, you would still stand tall. Because the moment you stop needing the crowd, you become the kind of person they follow anyway. Be a warrior for what's right, not what's popular. And even if you walk alone, walk like it's the only path that matters. If you've made it this far, it means something deep inside you is ready to evolve. To leave behind the distractions, the weakness, the emotional chaos, and step into something greater. Not perfection, but power. Not domination over others, but mastery over yourself. That's the Stoic path. It doesn't offer you comfort. It offers you clarity, direction, and a life of meaning even when the world around you is crumbling. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus. They didn't write for an easy world. They wrote to survive storms, battles, betrayals, and death with dignity. They taught us that true strength isn't in muscles or money. It's in the man who keeps his word, the woman who faces fear without flinching, the soul who does the right thing, especially when it's the hard thing. You don't need to wait for motivation. You don't need the perfect moment. You just need to begin right now. Train your mind. Expect struggle. Detach from outcomes, hold your principles, live like your time is running out, because it is. And the beautiful part, you don't need applause, you don't need praise, you don't need anyone to understand you. Because when you walk the Stoic path, you become unshakable from within. And that kind of strength, it's rare, it's real, and it's yours. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I am becoming unshakable day by day. If this message resonated with you, if something inside you lit up, if you felt a spark of truth, do not keep it to yourself. Like the video, comment your favorite law, share this with someone who's on their own journey, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are building a community of thinkers, warriors, and real ones who want more than noise, who want to live with purpose. And remember, don't skip any parts of your life. It's all training. It's all transformation. Keep showing up. Keep choosing strength. And don't stop until you become unstoppable.